Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is lecture number 5, and in this lecture we will cover levels of management and concept of management in broader sense, objectives of educational or school management, and aspects of education or school management and related issues. Okay, first of all, we shall see the level of management. So, what are the levels of management? Managements may be classified under the three main levels. Top level is there, then middle level, then lower level, and we can also say it supervisory level. So first of all, if we see in top management it includes board of governors, trustees, and in middle management this is head of departments, units, sectors, and in lower or supervisory management it includes supervisors, controllers, inspectors. So this is the pyramid of three levels of management. First of all, if we talk about the top level of management, then at the top level management level, relatively few technical skills are utilized. The peoples are mostly the trained and experienced. The emphasis here is on planning and conceptual activities, and there is notable less effort original and relations to working with people to carry out specific activities. The greater concern is for the further rather than the present. For example, major areas of activity includes long range objectives and policies. In second level, which is called middle level of management, here managers are concerned about ongoing activities, whatever the activities are going on, and they act as an observer and director of daily operations necessary to produce the goods or services. So the middle managers typically is reasonable for supervision of wage and salary systems, motivating subordinates, conducting meetings for purpose of training, control or coordinations, conducting appraisals and counseling. Personnel oriented activities are common in this group. In short, the middle managers are responsible for the day-to-day results of the long-range objectives. In the third level, that is lower or supervisory management, we can say that at this levels, manager plans and put into effect day-to-day activities, making certain plans that they should be carried out by the workers. And this level of management have effects on the organizational performance or functioning. So we are referring to the management between and within the levels as structure. The more rigid or long the structure, the more difficulty will be of decision making, communications, coordinations, motivations. On the other hand, if it is less rigid and shorter structure, then the faster the decision making process will be. Through there is a chance that supervision and control may get weakened. The next one point that is concept of management in broader sense. Now here at top level management we can say ministers, secretary, vice chancellors, district education officers. So these are mostly considered as at top level management. Here what are their functions? So their function is that macro planning and policy formations, approval of budgets, programs, initiating projects, controlling budgets, staffing, coordinations, communicating. And at middle level, the people are normally considered like deputy secretary, deputy education officers, head of colleges and schools. And their function, that is micro planning, organizing, directing, implementation, routine decisions and controlling. And at lower level management, the people are considered normally the section officers, superintendents, assistants, clerks, teachers, school staff. So their function is that mini planning are normally being done at lower level, implementations, monitoring and evaluations, coordinations and operational supervisions. This model shown here is simply to present a clear picture of management and to reduce the usual and continuing controversy over the actual meaning of management. So we shall assume that such by keeping in view that management in its broadest context covers the entire activities of planners, administrators and supervisors in education, and this is very clear from the given pictures. Now, what is the concept of management in broader sense more? Like we can see now that we have three main levels of management: top, middle, and lower level. So these three levels are involved in either more in administrative dimensions of management or in supervisory management, or both at different times and in different degrees. So the administrative and supervisory work covers the entire process and practice or functions of management, including planning, policy making, budgeting, staffing, coordination, communication, controlling, directing, organizing, implementing, decision making, monitoring, and evaluation or supervision. So you have noticed that although management is present, yet certain functions are done more often at certain levels, companies others. For example, there are basic differences between the policy making by the top management, for example ministers level, and the rules and regulations technically refers to policy, but the degree and emphasis may vary with the levels at which they are made. And also planning is done at all levels. Planning at top level, where there is a macro planning that differs from that lower level management like mini or micro planning. So study the model on figure as we have presented before critically and endeavor to see your position in the entire management process, that to what extent you can use the model to create the general frame of reference for work rationalization. Then the next topic is objectives of education or school management. Like aims and objectives of school management are same, which are determined by the government of Pakistan in education policies. So as per National Education Policy 1979, there are some aims of education, like to foster in hearts and minds of the people of Pakistan in general and students in particular a deep and abiding loyalty to Islam and Pakistan, and living consciousness of their spiritual and ideological identity, thereby cause strengthening of unity of the outlook of the people of Pakistan on the basis of justice and fair play. The second aim, that is to create awareness in every student that he as a member of Pakistan nation is also a part of the universal Muslim Ummah, and that it is expected of him to make a fair contribution towards the welfare of fellow Muslims inhabiting the globe on the one hand, and to help the spreading the message of Islam throughout the world on the other. The other aim is to produce citizens who are full conversant with the Pakistani movement, its ideological foundations, history and culture, so that they may feel proud of their heritage and can display firm faith in the future of country as an Islamic state. Then other one is to help to develop and inculcate in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah the character, conduct and motivation expected of true Muslims, to provide and ensure equal educational opportunities to all citizens of Pakistan, and to provide minorities with adequate facilities for their cultural and religious development, enabling them to effectively participate in overall national effort. The next one is to impart quality education and to develop fully according to their capacity. So each individual potentialities through training and retraining, and to develop the creative and innovative faculties of the people with a few to building their capabilities to effectively manage social, natural, and productive forces consistent with the value system of Islam. The next objective, or we can say to provide a minimum acceptable level of functional literacy and fundamental education to all citizens of the country, particularly the young, irrespective of faith, caste, and creed, in order to enable them to participate productively in the total effort. The next one, that is to create interest and love for learning and discipline among the youth, and to ensure that every student is imbued with the realization that education continues and lifelong process. To promote and strengthen scientific, vocational, and psychological education, training, and research in the country, and to use this knowledge for socio-economic growth and development, thereby ensuring a self-reliant and secure future for the nation. Then there are some aspects of education like school management and related issues. Like following some of the major educational or school management aspects are there. The first one is society needs and aspirations. The other one is the policy and objectives, the resources, the outcomes. So the issues in educational management usually concerns with 5 major educational management aspects, namely the policy and objectives, the resources, the management as the system. So we can show the critical areas that give birth to issues. Now what are the areas? Like in input, in second that is process, and at third there is output. In input we have resources or policy or objectives. In process we have managerial processes and procedures. In output we get results or outcomes. And then we get some society and environment. And again with the feedback we can again come to at first level, at first point, input. Again this process goes to become or to get good results or output. Thus we can categorize the major sources of educational issues. Like resource issues are there. Human means student, staff. Material means funds, facilities, equipment. And the constraints means the policy, regulations, ideology. The second, process issues. Here administrative and managerial issues are there, including power, curricular authorities, teaching strategies, nature of programs, and overall production process in education. In output issues, the results of the educational process, number of successful students, retention rate, dropout, or how far the educational system is meeting the objectives for setting it up. Then societal issues are there, like social, political, cultural, economic, technological issues with affect the management of education. For example, in Pakistan, one can guess the different issues like input issues, issues of Islamization of education enterprise, like its management and procedures. The issues of inadequacy or unreliability of the resources, for example, funds, staff, facilities, for managing educational institutions or projects. In process issues, the issues of curricular, like their adequacy standards or development, and the administrative setups in the institutions like departments, to what extent do they promote or hamper effectiveness or efficiency in the education process. And the methodologies adopted in the teaching, how far so they reflect acceptable qualities. And educational or examination procedures, how adequate or standardized. Then at third, like in input issues, output issues, how do we ensure that the output of the system are suitable enough for we over procedures under producing certain categories of output. Then social issues are there. The political context, like the matter arising from the political system that tends to affect educational system. Then social issues are there. The issues of equal opportunities, equal distribution of or access to educational facilities. The culture, how far they being protected, promoted, and destroyed by the education. The three basic procedures for the treatment of the issues in educational management. So, what are those? First one is thoughtful and reflective analysis of issues, their origin, magnitude, possible consequences, and short term or long term implications, and the possible management strategies. Through research and investigations, such research would reveal the ramification and implications of issues and could suggest possible steps for harnessing and accommodating the issues. So, at third, through discussions or workshops on the issues to highlight the implications, like short or long term implications on management practice. About this lecture, and hopefully you have subscribed my channel, and if still you didn't subscribe, so please subscribe it and share with your friends so that they may get more knowledge about education. Thank you. Take care. Allah Hafiz.